Here's a question for you. What comes to mind when you hear the word democracy? My name's Walter Hudson, and I'm running for state representative in northeastern Wright County, representing the communities of Rockford Township, Hanover, St. Michael, Albertville, and much of Otsego. The reason I ask is because Minnesota Democrats are interested in changing the primary date here in Minnesota. And as part of their pitch, they've come up with this nifty little slogan for the state called Democracy's North Star. And it is a nifty little piece of marketing. Perhaps we are, in fact, democracy's North Star here in Minnesota. The question becomes, what does that mean? And what do they mean when they evoke this word? Because they love it. They love talking about democracy. They love talking about the people getting what they want, access to the ballot, the importance of elections, the importance of your vote. But what is it that we're actually talking about when we use these words? Well, it occurs to me that democracy, the way it's used in the discourse, could mean one of two things. On the one hand, you have this idea of kind of pure democracy, majority rule, the idea that 50% plus one of the population should get, quite literally, anything that they want, be able to abuse the minority in any way they see fit, because they are, after all, the people, right? Contrary to that, you have democracy as a principle. The idea that what the word means in the original etymology of it is rule of the people, rule by the people. And that's not a collective expression, that's individualistic, meaning you and I get to rule ourselves, that our rights ought to be held sacred. And this is the theme that runs throughout our founding documents in the United States, through the Declaration of Independence, through the Constitution, and has been a guiding principle, a North Star, if you will, of our jurisprudence from the beginning. This is the definition of democracy that I believe our friends in the DFL fail to uphold. You know, as the Democrats have controlled state government over the years here in Minnesota, it has become increasingly undemocratic. Less and less public policy is openly deliberated. Fewer and fewer individual single subject bills get considered and passed. More and more we defer to large, fewer omnibus bills where everything is decided all at once, and often through the strong arming of leadership, whether that come in the form of the governor or the legislative leadership, regardless of what party they happen to be. We need to change this. We need to restore democracy as the North Star here in Minnesota by reforming the legislative process so that your voice is actually heard in St. Paul, so that your representatives have a meaningful role in determining what the law is going to be and what life is going to look like here in the state of Minnesota. Currently, we don't have that. Your will, your values, your desires, your expression is all completely disconnected from the process. And at the end of the day, most decisions are made by the governor and a select few legislative leaders, typically between the regular and special sessions, behind closed doors, without committee hearings, without deliberation, without public debate of any kind. That needs to end. Visit hudsonformn.com to learn more about my campaign to represent you in the state legislature. Together, we can renew hope and restore pride in Minnesota.